The story of iron and coal, Old King Coal, the Rolls-Royce of blast furnaces, the political minefield of redundancy. Earlier this month, British Steel, this titan of British industry, a metaphorical colossus on whose shoulders 2,700 workers stood trembling, has been reprieved. The government, wielding emergency powers with all the theatrical flair of a Marvel reboot, intervened, halted the redundancy consultation, and took control of operations in Scunthorpe. It was no ordinary nationalisation. It wasn't quite a nationalisation. It's a nationalisation without calling it that. And the Chinese owners, Yingzhe, walked away with £500 million in taxpayer support, declaring blast furnaces obsolete and too dear. In response, the government said, enough. The House of Commons was recalled over Easter, no mean feat considering the political allergy to work during recess, and an emergency act passed faster than a salamander tap could drain a furnace, and so the state stepped in. For workers and their families, this was a cliff edge with no railings. Lisa Coulson, the interim chief commercial officer, spoke of a difficult and worrying time. Trade union leaders hailed the reversal as if it were VE Day. Charlotte Brumpton-Childs from GMB called it a cloud lifted from the whole community, and rightly so. It wasn't merely about jobs, it was about dignity. It was about identity and continuity in a town built of slag and pride. And yet Sir John Redwood, never one to let a nationalisation pass without grumbling, has raised his trademark eyebrows, and he calls it a convenience to shepherd Labour through tricky May elections, lamenting taxpayer exposure and presumed end of blast furnaces. And his concern is not without merit. Electric arc furnaces, the darlings of decarbonisation, require far fewer people than the dinosaur-like majesty of a proper blast furnace. Sir John's criticism is that we're trading jobs and sovereignty for short-term applause and imported scrap metal. But building those new electric arc furnaces is going to take years. So herein lies the central dilemma. Do we want a steel industry that is environmentally modern or one that's globally independent? Electric furnaces reduce carbon but don't smelt from iron ore. Without blast furnaces, we become an assembler of foreign steel, not an originator. We risk being the only G7 nation without primary steel-making capacity, an astonishing strategic omission when one considers that steel stakes are so high in national defence, energy infrastructure, and the whispering threat of global tariffs. The question then is not only who saves the jobs and who pays the bill. Andrew Griffith, the business secretary, the shadow business secretary, dubbed the move a botched nationalisation and warned of costs stretching into the billions. The Treasury has yet to publish projections, a silence made more deafening by the clanging sound of molten metal still being poured. And the furnace is old, very old. Their relining, a Herculean task involving weeks of shutdown and millions in cost, remains unfunded and unmentioned. As Redwood quips, if you don't plan to reline them, you don't plan to keep them. This is an industrial strategy via defibrillator. Emergency powers, vague promises, no clear buyer in sight. And Jonathan Reynolds has admitted that nationalisation is likely while still courting American investors. And Labour, keen to look both decisive and patriotic, while uniting community unions declare this merely step one, a prelude to full ownership, subsidised energy and preferential procurement, Labour looks dithery. So what are we left with? It's a temporary reprieve. A workforce relieved but not reassured, an industry vital yet vulnerable, and a government walking the tightrope between ideological consistency and economic necessity. This isn't just about steel. It's about sovereignty, statecraft, about whether Britain still believes in making things rather than merely buying them. And above all, it's about whether we can forge a future with steel, not just import someone else's.